Om Shanti. Good morning. We will start with this image that has a question that how am I spending the time of the confluence age? You might have reflected upon the question and also might have evaluated yourself many times maybe. But Baba today takes us into the depth of the importance of time and the importance of confluence age. In today's Murli, Baba speaks about the specialities of this confluence age and teaches us, rather asks us, not to merely spend this time or merely pass this time. But then Baba says that you need to celebrate it. The confluence age is nothing but the time of celebration. Baba emphasizes on celebrating the divine confluence age. And a little question here is that why would you think Baba asks us to celebrate this? Just till the time we reach that, till the time we reach the answer in the Murli. We'll just reflect on why this confluence age is so precious. And Baba even says that before performing any task, compare it to that of Brahma Baba and then decide whether it is right or wrong, whether you are to do it or not. And towards the end of the Murli, Baba says that it is now and here that you have to experience liberation, that is mukti, and liberation in life, that is Jivan Mukti. Of course, you will receive this in the future, Baba says, but then you have to experience it deeply now. So, the Murli, the title of the Murli is the yardstick to increase your power of discernment is the divine activity of Sakar Baba. The date of the Murli is 11th July 1972. And there is one more title that I just saw. It is probably the easy one. A test of increasing your decision power is realizing the characteristics of Sakar Brahma Baba. And if we look at this title, the yardstick one, so the yardstick is nothing but a standard measurement that we normally use to check whether something is right or wrong. In Hindi, we call that as kasauti, a stone that the goldsmith uses to check the purity of gold, right? So let us read the Murli together. Knowing the specialities of the present time, have you imbibed all the powers and made yourself a special soul? Just as you speak of the specialities of this time, in the same way, do you see those specialities in yourself? Are there as many specialities in the self as there are of the time? है ना, स्वयं में इतनी विशेषताएं हैं जितनी समय में है. I was asking us to check this, right? And to check the specialities, first we need to know those specialities, right? So while we read on the Murli, just try to connect yourself with what time is it now and what are its specialities. Baba says, or is it that there are more specialities of the time and less of the self? How much difference do you think there is between the time and the self? Is there a difference? Are you powerful, or is it the time powerful? Huh? So somebody answered that at the present, the time is powerful, though the self should be powerful. Hmm? When Baba asks us to compare the state of our minds with this time, hmm? So somebody just said that, Baba, we should be powerful, but it is not so. The time today is powerful. Hmm? And this is, we're talking about 72. Hmm? But today, the time is really moving very fast. समय जितना तीव्र है, because the time is moving with a lot of intensity, very fast. So should be our Purusharth as well, right? So Baba says, if you say it should be this, then what is the difference between non-Jnani and weak souls of the world and you Jnani souls, you master almighty authority souls? Baba says that in the world, even the non-Jnanis, they speak, they know that what is to be done, right? They know how the lifestyle should be. It is not that they are not aware or they don't know. But what do they say? That, things should be this way, but they are not. huh? So Baba says, even if you are saying this, then what is the difference between you and the others who do not have this knowledge? Baba says, even those people say it should be like this, it should be like that. If you also say it should be like this, then what is the difference? That is the difference between those who have knowledge and those who don't. People say that it should be like this or that, whereas knowledgeable souls do not say this, but they demonstrate it practically. Those people simply speak about it, whereas knowledgeable souls do it practically. That is the difference. They simply speak about it, whereas you do it. If you, even now, say it should be like this, then what is the difference? Ask yourself, what are the specialities of the time? Initially, also, we mentioned that, while we reach towards this answer, or while Baba brings it into our notice, we'll just reflect on what are the specialities of time according to me, personally. How do I feel, or how do I consider this time? And out of those specialities, what specialities do I lack in myself? If even one speciality is missing, would I be able to be in the list of those who are special souls? I would not, would I? Make a list of the specialities of this time, and you will be able to see many specialities. Just as I mentioned earlier as well, that the time is moving with a lot of intensity. It's very fast, and so should our Purusharth be, right? While I was reading this Murli earlier, one more point that came to my mind was, right now, this time, while we are moving very close, Baba always keeps on saying that, the time is very close. We are just to reach, it's the end. We are marking the end today, right? So the stage should also be like that. So where Baba says that, if even one speciality is lacking, I will not be able to reach that stage of completeness, right? Because the time is towards the end, it's towards its completion. But am I also in that stage of completion? Hmm? But the time is also a blessed one. Samay Vardani hai. So whatever thoughts or whatever plans I make for myself, I will be able to achieve that because samay ko vardhan hai, right? Baba keeps on saying that this is the blessed time of the confluence age, right? And it is also like, one example that comes to my mind is when the shopkeeper is just about to close the shop, marking the end of the day. He tries to sell more of its commodities, or he tries to sell uh, even in what can I say, even in less amount. भले ही पैसे कम लेंगे लेकिन बेचने की ज्यादा कोशिश रहती है, right, towards the end while we pack up. So Baba is also in that phase now. The time is also in that phase now. Things are wrapping up, right? Baba is just wrapping up. So he is also in that mode of giving away. So it is just up to us. How are we taking it, right? How are we making the most of this blessed time? Baba says, out of those specialities, what is the elevated speciality of this time? This is the time of the confluence age that we are passing through. Is it not? It is the time to become elevated. But what is the greatness of this time that cannot exist at any other time? So initially I asked this question, what is the speciality, the elevated speciality? So Baba answers to this question. He says the speciality of the confluence age is that every second of the confluence age is a sweet mela in which souls have a meeting with the Father. No other age has this speciality, which you call the meeting of the Father and the children. Do you constantly imbibe this speciality in yourself as you move along? So Baba is saying that this confluence age is the only age where the Father meets the children. There won't be another confluence age ever in the entire cycle. Baba says, just as every second of the confluence age is a mela, in the same way, do you experience yourself to be celebrating a meeting with the Father at every second? Now, this is a very deep question, that we need to ask ourselves, that are we spending this confluence age in celebration, or rather we are just passing it on? How are we spending time? Baba says, or while moving along in this elevated mela, do you sometimes let go of Bap Dada's hand and thereby deprive yourself of the mela and of celebrating a meeting? Sometimes some children get lost in a mela. They let go of their parents' hand. A mela is for celebrating with happiness, even while we go in a fair. अगर किसी मेले में जाते भी हैं, in English we call it a fair, if I'm not wrong. So we often try to hold the parent's hand, and the child always tries to hold the parent's hand, because there is so much in the mela that is to be seen, that is to be experienced. There are rides, there are a variety of colors, there are a variety of things to experience. So Baba says, similar is this mela, but are you experiencing this with happiness, or what is it? So for a second, if you just look at yourself holding Baba's hand and moving along in this mela, you experience deeply that, Baba's there with me. So this brings a lot of satisfaction. This brings a lot of, this brings a lot of comfort to the mind that yes, my Father is there with me. Baba says, if some children in a mela become separated from their parents, or they let go of their parents' hand, then what attainment will they have? Instead of happiness, they will become even more anxious. So look at yourself. Am I constantly experiencing the attainment of happiness in the Mela? Am I constantly celebrating a Mela? What would indicate those who are constantly celebrating in happiness? What would their speciality be? What would indicate those who stay in the supersensuous joy of constantly celebrating a meeting? What would their speciality be? Huh? So, to all the questions, Baba says, just check now, just check yourself with the answer that Baba gives us now. Those who are constantly absorbed in celebrating a meeting will never become caught up with any obstacle. The meeting removes obstacles. Such souls will be destroyers of obstacles. A meeting is said to be with deep love. If any type of obstacle comes and you become influenced by the obstacle, then what does that signify? That you are not constantly celebrating a meeting. So Baba is telling the result as well. Huh? You tell others to recognize the time and to take benefit of the time. So do you give this warning to yourself, or do you simply give this warning to others? When you give yourself this warning, then you are not able to stay away from a meeting for even 1 second. If we are constantly aware that what time is it, and if we are constantly aware about its importance, Baba says you will not be able to separate yourself even for a second. Huh? Baba loves this word of 1 second. Huh? Baba likes it. Further, Baba says you will celebrate a meeting at every second. When a huge mela takes place, its time is fixed. This mela is going to last for this long, and then it finishes. A huge mela takes place for a very short time, and so what would you do? You would try to celebrate in that mela. In the same way, if you do not celebrate the mela of the confluence age, will this mela take place at any other time? Now, this is extremely important. You know, while I was reading this Murli earlier, one thing that just clicked my mind was, Baba, no, this Mela will not take place at any other time in the entire cycle. So you are here, right here, and I am to take the majority, the most of this time. I am to make the most of my time now. So Baba says, it is only in this short time that the Mela, or the meeting of the father with the children, takes place. So what should you do in this Mela of a short time? You should celebrate it every second. So while knowing the specialities of the time, imbibe those specialities in yourself, and you will automatically become elevated souls. The time is elevated, and you have to become the elevated souls. Baba says, everyone's aim is to become an elevated soul, is it not? While having the aim to become elevated souls, why are your efforts ordinary? If you just take this one sentence, that while having the aim to become elevated souls, why are your efforts ordinary? It just reminds me of the basic figures of speech. Um, I am not sure if it's antithesis, where we have, opposite things in the same sentence. Baba says that if you are, or if you are to become the elevated souls, how can your efforts be ordinary? Uh, I don't know about you, but this brings in my mind all the things, that are ordinary, that I still do in an ordinary way. So this should not be the case, right? Baba says, if your aim is elevated, then why are your qualifications those of an ordinary soul? What is the reason for this? You forget the aim. How can those who keep an aim forget their aim? Why is the power to find a solution to any problem lacking? Why are we forgetting this aim? Baba will now bring this point or clear this point deeply. What is the reason for this? Why are you not able to find a solution? Because of not finding a solution, you are not able to. So why is the power to find a solution lacking? For those who are following Srimad, as is their aim, so will be their qualifications. So if your aim is elevated and your qualifications are ordinary, then what is the reason for that? It is because you are not able to find a solution to the obstacles. What is the reason for not finding the solutions? Which power is missing? Initially, see, uh, Baba brought this point very clearly that you are forgetting your aim. Secondly, Baba mentioned that you even lack the ability to find solutions to the obstacles. And then Baba says, why is that? Which power is missing? So someone might have answered that the power to discern. So Baba says that is right. Until you are able to discern, you cannot find a solution. In Hindi we say, किसी चीज का निवारण तब तक नहीं मिल सकता जब तक आपने निर्णय नहीं किया, राइट? कारण का निवारण ढूंढो, किस आधार से? निर्णय शक्ति के आधार से, right? The power to discern. So Baba says, until you are able to discern, you cannot find a solution. But if you are able to discern something, you will then be able to find a solution. However, there is something missing in your being able to discern. Now, Baba says that the power is also weak. You are not really able to discern as well. So further Baba says, and why are you not able to discern? It is because you are not free from negative thoughts. Because of having wasteful or negative thoughts in your intellects, because your intellects are not clear, you are not able to discern. And because of not being able to discern, you are not able to find a solution. And because of not being able to find a solution, you become influenced by something else. So if you do not have the proper solution in front of you, something or someone else might come and distract you. So Baba says you get influenced by something else and you move to a different direction then. So Baba says, what is the easy method you have been given? Just as you have a yardstick to recognize gold, and you can tell from that whether it is real gold or false, in the same way, what yardstick do you have in front of you in order to increase your power to discern? The yardstick in Sakar Baba's every activity and character. So the yardstick, the kasauti that we call in Hindi, is nothing else but Sakar Baba's every activity and character. Har kartavya, har soch. Sakar Baba's every action is the kasauti, is the yardstick. Whatever actions you perform and whatever thoughts you have, if you check yourself against this yardstick as to whether they are accurate or not, whether they are wasteful or powerful, then after checking yourself against this yardstick, they will become easy and elevated. This reminds me of a very brief example, that Dadi Janki always used to say that ब्रह्मा की फोटो लगाने के पीछे एक ही कारण कि ब्रह्मा को देख देख कर शिव बाबा ज्यादा याद आते हैं. Dadi used to always say that, again and again, if you look at Brahma Baba's picture in front of you, the picture will force you to remind or to remember Shiv Baba again and again. Why? Because Brahma is such an authority. Brahma is such an example, such a yardstick, that if you look at the way Baba used to speak, the way Baba used to walk, the way Baba used to eat, all these little actions also, if we compare ourselves to Baba, then in difficult circumstances also we will be able to, compare ourselves or make a right decision. That's what I believe. Then Baba further says, because you do not keep this yardstick with you, you find it takes effort. You forget the easy method. Because of this, you are unable to find liberation from obstacles. What would happen if a goldsmith did not have a proper yardstick? He would be deceived. In the same way, if you do not constantly have this yardstick with you in your awareness, then you experience difficulty. It is easy, is it not? In that case, does it become difficult? So keeping in mind Baba's effort, keeping in mind Baba's actions, we will be able to easily discern. We will be easily able to decide what is to be done next. Baba says, you do not use the method you have been given. If you use the method, then you will definitely have liberation. Whether there are storms through thoughts, or whether there are storms or obstacles through any relationships, matters, or problems, the reason for not experiencing liberation from those is that you do not use the right method. You have not become accurate in method, that is yukti yukt. The more accurate you are in yoga and in method, that is, the more you will definitely become liberated from obstacles. Jitna yukti yukt, jitna yog yukt hum honge, utna mukti ka anubhav hum karenge. Right? Liberated from obstacles, Baba says. So, just look at these three things in Hindi. Yog yukt, yukti yukt, and then mukt. Okay. So are you free from all obstacles, or do you get caught up with them? It is because you do not remain accurate in yoga that you become caught up with obstacles. When you have any programs, when you give lectures or explain to anyone, then what is the main thing that you tell everyone? Liberation and liberation in life. Mukti and Jivan Mukti. So Baba says, liberation and liberation in life is your birthright. So since it is your birthright, then attain it. Then you say, if not now, then never. So Baba's asking, have you attained this main slogan of liberation and liberation in life as your birthright? You have become the children and yet not claimed the right. You explain it to others. As soon as you become a child, you claim a right to the inheritance. So is this something that you just explain to others, or is it something to do practically? It is a different matter to be worthy, but have you received the inheritance of liberation and liberation in life? Have you attained it here? Huh? This is a point that we need to mark today, that it is not something that we are going to get in the future. Of course, Satyug is a stage where there will be liberation in life. And of course, Paramdham is something that the soul will experience liberation. But Baba says you have to attain both of these now. Huh? We will just maybe discuss it during the discussion. Or are you going to receive liberation in the land of liberation and liberation in life in heaven? See, Baba says that, is it that कि आप मुक्ति को परम धाम में अनुभव करेंगे और जीवन मुक्ति को सतयुग में अनुभव करेंगे? हाँ? You are going to receive it in the future anyway, but together with the future, you haven't received liberation and liberation in life at this time. But since you have found the Father at this time, you will receive the inheritance at this time too. Now, there are two types of inheritance, the one of the confluence age and the one of the golden age. So have we received the inheritance of the confluence age? Baba says. So you are moving along on the assurance of the future. Now someone just said that we have received a check. So Baba says, children are not given a check. Children have a right to everything of the Father. Those who have a right are not given the assurance of a check. And the check is something that, wherein the amount is collected later on. You put in the check, but then you receive the amount sometime later. So Baba says, do not sit with the assurance of the liberation in life later in Satyug, but it has to be now. The practical inheritance is received at this time. Liberation in life is experienced at the same time as being bondage in life. There is no question of bondage in life. A very deep point. You will experience light only if there is darkness. Otherwise, you will not be able to make a contrast of the two, right? Taking this point forward, Baba says, there you would simply be in the state of that reward. In the land of liberation, you will not be able to have the experience of liberation there that you are able to experience now. So, do you think that you are going to receive a right to liberation and liberation in life in the future? No. Baba says, no, do not depend or do not wait for the future, but experience it now. Since you have become the children, you have also received your inheritance. However, there is then a number on how far you become obedient and faithful and follow all the instructions. Agyakari, Wafadar, Farman Bardar. Further, Baba says, you become one who has a right to the inheritance. It depends on each one's stage, how you adopt that inheritance in your life and take the benefit of it. The Father does not make any difference in giving the inheritance. The difference is created by your being worthy or unworthy. This is why it is said, you constantly attain your birthright by yourself. You should be constantly liberated, should you not? Be free from the body and the relationships of the body, and also be free from the awareness of the old world. Now see, Baba is giving us a definition of what does it mean to be liberated here. Be free from the body and the relationships of the body, and also be free from the awareness of the old world. Have you not become free? If you experience the stage of liberation, then after being liberated, you will automatically experience yourself being liberated in life because you are living your life. You are a bodily being. While living this life, you are free from the body, bodily relationships, and attractions of the old world. And this is called the stage of being liberated in life. Hmm? A very beautiful definition of liberation and liberation in life. So Baba says, so you have to experience liberation and liberation in life at this time and not in the future. In the future, you will continue to receive the reward of the attainment of this time. However, the attainment is to be experienced at this time first. It is understood of the future that the reward that that is the reward of your elevated actions, but it is now that you perform the elevated actions. So the experience of attainment will also be at this time. Do not simply keep yourself assured of the future. Do not simply remain checking yourself while keeping the check with yourself. Do not do this. Hmm? Look at yourself. To what extent am I moving along with the inheritance that I have received from the Father? The Father has given it. No one can snatch from someone who has a right to it. So maintain the intoxication and faith that you have a right. Simply check that you are not wasting somewhere the inheritance that you have received. Huh? Another point that Baba brings into our mind, into the awareness, is that do not waste your inheritance. Huh? There are many children who receive a lot, but who also lose a lot. Because of losing it, although you do receive something, you still remain a beggar because while having a right, you become dependent. When you don't have a right, you will definitely be dependent. When you don't have a right, you become influenced by obstacles because you have not received a right. If you constantly move along as one who has a right, then you cannot be influenced by any obstacle. Do not become dependent on matter. Just as the Father takes the support of matter, but does not become dependent on it, in the same way, you have to move along whilst making that body and these elements your support and not being dependent on them. Just as Shiv Baba takes the support of the Sakar form, Baba says you souls also have to take the support of this body, but do not get entangled into it. Acha. Have you seen the game of aerobics? Those in the bhatti demonstrated aerobics very well today. Now, in the completion, all the weaknesses will also be finished, will they not? You will then not play these games, will you? So further, Baba's giving remembrance to those who constantly maintain the faith and intoxication of a right to liberation and liberation in life, to the souls who become elevated by adopting all types of greatness, love, remembrance, and namaste. From us to our beloved Bap Dada, love-filled remembrance and namaste. We will take a moment of silence and then we shall share the points from the Murli. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. You can unmute yourself and share the points, please. What has Baba mentioned today? Nothing?
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Very wonderful Murli. I mean, really, absolutely wonderful Murli. And definitely, the point which touched me is that to feel the liberation and the liberation in life right at the moment, in this moment, elevated moments, every second of this conference age is a Sangam Yoga, Sangam with Milan with the supreme energy, the supreme Father in all relationships, not only one relationship, all relationships. We need to enjoy this moment. We need to be one-on-one with them. That is and the method Baba gave is that the in the Mela, there are two Mela Baba spoke about. One Mela is the villain with the supreme authority, and the other Mela is this worldly things, the matter Mela, made of material things around us, which constantly, tempt the soul and give that distraction. So, and they can finally convert into obstacles. So Baba said, check yourself every thought and every action that they are in alignment with the supreme energy, the supreme Paramatma, Parampita, Shiv Baba. So that is a checking point. I'm going to take this takeaway today. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Yes.
Om Shanti, sister.
Om Shanti.
So for me, the simple line that it is your right to get the liberation. It's your absolute right, not like a check. And to be free from the body and the relationships of the body. Simple sentence, but deep meaning. So it really touched me in that, and it is my right to be liberated. So I actually believe it. Om Shanti.
Wonderful. Yes.
Om Shanti, sister.
Om Shanti.
For me, there are two things. Like when you started the Murli with that question about that confluence age, I always think this is such an age because God has picked me up, chosen me, kept me in his bosom, sustained me, and never in the time in any kalpa did I know I could experience God like this and be so close to him like this. So when I just look at the other souls, the effort they have to do in singing and praising the Lord, going on pilgrimages and doing that, to know just by a touch how to give, I think that's the most important thing which I'm really proud of. Am I using it? No. Yes, Baba has given me the yardstick of following Sakar Brahma. Am I using it 100%? No. If I evaluate myself, no. I have not recognized. I recognize the benefit. I also recognize the shortness of time, but how I am able to convert it into, like immediate action, immediately, like this and this mixed, this happens. No. So for that purpose, this is one point. The second point, which I have already put in the chat box, is that liberation and life. I think 2 days back, a brother had said, you cannot experience anything in Paramdham. The liberation is there, you can't experience. And when you come to the golden age, you are in life, but you don't know you're really enjoying something because you don't know what you lost. But now I know both liberation and life. And as somebody rightly said, the check, in the check, they say on demand pay to. But here Baba is saying, no, there is no question and all, it is just yours, a right. So just these three aspects, I think I would like to go churn in more. Om Shanti.
Wonderful. Liberation and life is a deep speciality of the confluence age as well, huh? Because one side we experience darkness, we've seen that. Huh? One side we see light, so it becomes easy to make a contrast between the two. Huh? There in Satyug, matlab, there'll be light all the time. We would never know that what darkness is. Huh? So this is one more speciality of the confluence age.
Om Shanti. Today's
Om
Murli,
Shanti,
there's
sister.
this line, where Baba says Om Shanti. The practical inheritance is received at this time. Liberation in life is experienced at the same time as being in bondage in life. So while reflecting on this line, what I was getting for myself is you will know the value of goodness only when there is a lot of badness in your surrounding. So getting present to this, that state of being liberated from life is going to be natural in the golden age. And for me to achieve that stage or be there in golden age to experience this reward, I need to first practice self-sovereignty here in this confluence age. So getting every moment present, that each moment of confluence age is going to be like a provident fund for me. I put my money today there and I'll get the reward at a later date. So that's my takeaway. Om Shanti.
Mm. Yes, yes. Anybody else would like to add on this?
Just to add one, see, Baba spoke about in one of the paragraph, right. You know, every right is accompanied by a duty. And see, what's the duty Baba is saying? Obedient, faithful, instructions, worthy or unworthy, and being detached. And also, if I want to really claim that right, get that check, what are the duties one has to do? He has put it over there, like in those two paragraphs. So what I should do, that I can say, just because I'm born in the lap of my father, I cannot say, yes, I have a right. No. What are those conditions which he has given is also one to take care of.
Yes, yes. Very nice. Radhamani, sister, you wanted to share something?
Om
Please
Shanti,
go ahead.
Om Shanti, Om Shanti.
Om
The
Shanti.
elevated point, what I take is, in this elevated Mela, we never let go of parents' hand, that is Babdada's hand. If we left isolated means, then we won't feel happiness. Then we will become even more anxious. This point I take as an elevated point.
Very nice. Yes.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti, brother.
So the one point that touched me is this. The Baba says the effort is that we are making is ordinary now. So the reason is, we are forgetting our aim. So we are not really focusing. So so it's like we need to find out, we need to realize the importance of time. So this conference is that this is the only time that we can accumulate, right? And therefore create our elevated fortune for 5,000 years. So this awareness can really help us in building that and putting more effort. And another thing Baba said is the power to discern. So until we don't have this power to discern, then we will not be able to put that or find what is missing in us.
Yes, yes. Would anyone like to add on to anything? No?
Om Shanti. I would like to just add one reflection that the dependency, you need to check on which things we are dependent, our internal happiness, both the state of liberation and liberation in life, should not be dependent on external factors. They should be dependent on, in fact, Baba, relationships with Baba. So that is a good checking point Baba has given. Check our dependency, because if they are dependent on external factors, then there would be some obstacles. There would be sometimes happiness, then sometimes sorrow. Will be in that cycle, vicious cycle. So if we want to be constantly uh, in happiness and joy, then we need to be dependent only on one, and give to others, share those attainments from Baba. Om.
Sister, just one intoxication point.
Yes,
Those
please.
days when Baba used to come to meet us, I remember the preparations we used to do, what we used to do even mentally to go ready to do that meeting. And then we stand in queue, we wait for Baba to descend. And then that particular drishti which he gives and what he pours us, each one of us, the 20,000 people away, how we are soaked. And then we come out as if it's a big vacation we have been. And then we wait for the next meeting. I think that kind of Milan which you face, Baba, we miss you, Baba, that kind of thing. I think that's the height of intoxication in the conference age.
Okay. Can we not experience it now?
We can, sister, but this
Yes.
body, this mind, this intellect is so like a cat drinking milk, And so many times we have been to Madhuban, so many times saying it, like as if I need more, I need more. I know, of course, we can experience. It's like being in love with my lover who's not there. But that, that when I see his face, and especially when Baba leaves, that, okay, I'm going, that teasing look, I think, please don't go, please don't go. I don't know, those experience, if it's now then we feel life was, but that was the electric shock. I think something which we always will remember whenever, only now we can remember, of course.
But Baba even is waiting for us even now. He mentioned today as well that you have to experience this every second. So even while I was reading this Murli, I had this in my mind that Baba, confluence age is about to end, and you are, maybe the part is different now. Baba's role is different now. It's totally avyakt, completely avyakt. So, but then we still have him. Every second, what he said, we are not in Madhuban physically. We can experience it. Anybody else would like to add on to anything? No? Okay. Yes, Bharti sister, you wish to say something? Please go ahead.
Sister, as Rakhi sister said that when you do not value the goodness when you do not come in contact with the badness around you. So this is the experience of mine also, that yes, when there are many problems around you, or negative things around you, only then you value God and his positivity. So that makes you more knowledgeable and more powerful. So I just wanted to discuss with you all that what are the necessary aspects to overcome the negativity around and become victorious at the end. Om Shanti.
Okay. Would anybody like to answer to sister's question? Anyone?
One reflection could be any moment when Maya attacks, especially checking on the level of irritation during the day.
For me, I think the intellect, which even today Baba said to clear, the clarity by these two, by the That's one. See, mind is the thought power, but it's intellect which really holds the mind. So to hold the intellect clear, just focus it on the one. Yes, it's not easy for negativity to leave. But if I focus my mind and on seeing the good things and all, I think maybe I could really ward off, try to fight off, or it slowly gets absolved or dissolved because of a lot of positivity. It's a process.
Right. When sister was just asking this question, an example just came to my mind. It was just 2 days back. Raki sister, I hope we are not falling short of time.
We can take up this
Uh,
conversation and then move on to meditation.
okay,
So you can
okay. Just a
complete this,
little.
of course. Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead.
Yes, yes. Thank you. A little example. It was just 2 days back. While we were at work, we were just given something, a task, and uh, you had to complete it in pairs. So I had my partner with me, and while we were just programming, we were just coding a very subtle but the most important aspect as to how the output or what the output should be. I was just moving on with that part of the code, and I immediately asked my partner that, about the idea, right? So how is it to be? How is it to be done? And what should be the output, rather? Just so she told me something, and I planned it accordingly, and we uh, drafted the entire part, and we submitted the thing. We realized that the same day that whatever we've submitted was absolutely in completely different direction that was supposed to be done. Okay, if we were left, then the answer was right. Okay, so that happened, and uh, I was slightly irritated and frustrated, maybe, that how can you be so careless about guiding someone else. uh, just as sister asked, that there will be negative things, and there will be people who will not be according to you. There will be situations who will not be according to you. And then I realized that it was the time of Numasham, the same day, while I was sitting in front of Baba, and I just said, Baba, she made that chaos, and that chaos entered my mind as well, and we went in totally different direction. We committed a huge mistake over there, and we landed up in trouble. So Baba just said, I felt like Baba saying that उसने अपनी बुद्धि से काम लिया ना बच्चे, आप अपनी बुद्धि से कर लो. So I felt like, oh, acha, I am not to take this inside. Okay, whatever has happened now. The next day we are to move on, and we have to take it to a right direction. Everything, the mistake needs to be resolved, basically. So that made it easy for me to, focus my mind on improving, or rather resolving the mistake, rather than sitting and feeling guilty or blaming somebody else for the mistake. So maybe, Bharti sister, the answers are clear to you. Maybe just bring a little clearance.
Thank you, sister. The quality which I took from this discussion is that you have to be patient and have only the control only on the things which you can control, and stop thinking about the things which are not in your hand. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Yes, yes. So before we move on to the meditation, uh, just a little homework. What are the specialities of this confluence age? And not merely from this Murli, but we can add on, we can churn on these points, that how is it more special, and how can I make it more special with Baba? So what are the specialities of this confluence age, and how am I making the most of it? The points we can churn on this, maybe. Let's sit back, looking at myself in silence. I, the soul, I am the master. And in this confluence age, I am worthy of the Almighty's blessings, of the Almighty's beautiful company. I, the soul, I am to cherish, celebrate this conference age with the Almighty. I, the being, I realize that now is the time. The divine is here, right in front. And I am to experience him as I move along today. Whatever tasks I perform, I have the Almighty with me today, because it's His promise that He will be there with me always. Thank you, Baba. Thank you. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Thank you, Deepika Ben. Thank you, Divine Family. See you tomorrow at 5 a.m. Till that time, have a blissful day.